According to Tristin Hopper's recent column in the National Post, this is actually, surprisingly, an easy problem to fix. It just requires willpower. To tell us more, Mr. Hopper joins us now on Forum Daily. Sir, welcome back to the show.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Now, what are the main takeaways from Demographia's rankings of housing affordability when it comes to the Canadian housing market?
It's not much different than what we already knew. So, there's any number of reports we can look at. We know that housing is unaffordable in Vancouver and Toronto, and it has been for quite some time and is only getting more unaffordable with the recent dramatic price spikes, particularly at the tail end of COVID. So, I guess, Demographia is showing that not only are we more unaffordable than we've ever been in our history, it's starting to become... it's a rate of unaffordability that even looks weird by the standards of other large cities known for not having affordable real estate.
And you're saying the reason behind this disparity in your column is that it's because Canada's number of homes per capita is fewer than other countries. So why is Canada's housing market set up like this?
Yeah, basically, it's a constrained supply. So, real estate is no different than any other commodity. If you don't have enough around of it, the price goes up. So, we saw that with lumber. For instance, there wasn't a lot of lumber. It got really expensive. And then you made more lumber, and now it's not as expensive. But we have an artificially constrained supply in Canada because essentially, most municipalities have very strict zoning laws that prohibit densification. So if you just had a normal unrestricted market, houses get really expensive. You build a bunch more homes, and this is actually what Canada used to do in the 1970s. You just sort of had, tax structures and various other means to build your way out of an affordability crisis. We don't really have that in Canada for any number of reasons, zoning laws being the most prominent. So Vancouver, the most unaffordable housing market in the entire country. If you look at a map of Vancouver, more than 80% of it is only zoned for single family homes or duplexes. So basically, in most of Vancouver, you go to jail if you build anything denser than a house. So when you create conditions like that, it's almost inevitable you're going to have a shortage of homes followed by spikes in price.
So I guess the big question here is, what is stopping officials from changing these laws?
It's sort of political inertia. Basically, everybody, it's the most insidious contributor to housing unaffordability. And there's a number of them, but this is the most prominent one. Because I think a lot of people secretly like it. So I know any number of people, I live on the west coast of Canada, who say, I want affordable cities, I want affordable housing. But then the minute someone looks to build something next door to them that maybe they don't like, seems a bit too tall, might block out the sun, then they go to the barricades to get it shut down, not realizing that it's exactly thousands of little actions like that that stop us from building the homes we need at the price points we need. I think it's government policies that just do not support the increase in supply, and lots of people who quietly support those policies. Potentially because, if you bought a house in 1980 in Vancouver for $86,000 in East Vancouver, now it's worth $1.4 million. So maybe you quietly like the policy that essentially allowed you to win the lottery.
And I guess, what are the demographics of these Canadians that actually do own their own properties?
Well, it's going to skew older because basically we've been on an upward trend for about the last 20 to 30 years in some markets. Some changes here and there. I think there's a huge generational divide here because anybody who owned a home prior to 1985 is basically fine. And anybody like me who's in their 30s or 20s has never really known an era. Sure, we have low interest rates, which is another contributor, but has never really known an era in which owning, a viable, reasonable home to raise a family in most major real estate markets is ever going to be within reach.
All right, Mr. Hopper, some really interesting information there. Thank you again for joining us today on Forum Daily, sir.
Thank you.